Alan, X marks the spot. There's a couple of X's here.
There is. It's a BMW X. In fact, it's an iX40 with all-wheel drive. BMW design has been controversial really since the Bangle days of that first Bangle 7 Series, which had the Bangle bustle. So, because I've got the key in my pocket, the BMW is set to unlock and lock, depending on whether I'm walking towards it or away from it. These are the slimmest lights on any production BMW ever, and they are laser lights, the fancy pixelated ones with laser enhancement. One of the other really strange little oddities is that's where you fill your washer water. The other thing is this grille. It's got that kind of M grill on it, except it's completely flat. It's just a piece of flat plastic. Let's look at the wheels. 21 inches standard. These are 22, the 22-inch upgrades. The mirrors kind of flow out from the side of the car, which is really interesting. They made a big point in the sales material that comes with this car of saying that it's got cameras and things all over the place. And not only that, the cameras will take a photo if someone tries to break into the car, which I think is really interesting. Now, I've been having a little bit of a bitch about BMW door handles because they kind of flick out. These are just holes in the side of the car with a button behind it to open the door. And you can also get an upgrade that gives you the soft closed doors. But come over and have a look at this. There's a strip on the top of each door, and that changes colour with each function. So blue when it's unlocked, and if I was to lock it, it goes red, look. But I think the main thing is the fact that all the windows are frameless, which, I don't know, I think it's just a nice feature. All of this is on the tailgate. So, and it does have foot operation as well. So when you open the tailgate, look, the tail lights go up with the tailgate. So there's a brake light, a tail light, and an indicator, so that if you're sitting here, if you're broken down on the highway, people coming from behind can still see your hazard flashes, because of course otherwise they'd be up on the boot, and unless you're coming in by chopper, you're not going to see anything. Inside there's only a couple of charging cables and a fixed, very, very hard parcel shelf, half of which is there, half of which is up here. You can take it out, but it probably makes the inside of the car quieter. David, what do you think of the back?
It has a lot of room here. Not quite enough support under here. Well, I'd love a little more, and maybe a bit more room under to put my feet.
Some cup holders there in the centre console?
Yeah. Here we go.
Yep. And another zone of climate control, look, for each rear passenger.
Yes.
And a plethora, David, a plethora of USBs.
There's a couple here, a couple on that side.
Couple on that side. And then if you open this little hatch up, there's a place to fit accessories, a tablet holder and so forth. This is very space-aged.
I feel like I'm being pampered a bit here in the back.
I think this is absolutely gorgeous. The seats are designed, according to the designers, to resemble lounge chairs. This is meant to be a room, a place where you can sit and contemplate. It's got buttons discreetly placed here on the centre console, which looks like a piece of furniture. This looks like wood, but they're actually all the buttons. I mean, I think it is wood, or bamboo or something. Some piano black buttons, auto hold, electric brake and so forth, but this gorgeous crystal button here, that is your gear shifter, and the start-stop button. And look at this, this looks like a crystal coaster. It looks like it's just sitting here on the surface, but it works just like a joystick. Don't you think that's amazing?
I quite like having a dial in the middle, because I don't like stumbling around on a touchscreen. Indeed,
but look, there's the auto parking button. This is just amazing. My modes, by the way, is the drive mode, so let's, we'll get into that once we get started. A place to stand your phone up, but there's also a place underneath to charge, another couple of USB outlets, and a 12-volt outlet where I've got my Navman plugged in. This is beautifully smooth with this floating centre console. This is 14.8 inches and 12.3 inches, and it's one big curved display. And of course, this, David, has the best sound system I've ever heard in any automotive situation. It is absolutely beautiful. But David, the piece de resistance. Hey BMW.
Hey.
Open the roof.
Sure, I will set high transparency.
There's also a button if you don't want to use that as well. And the button's up here. You simply press that button and it makes the roof go less see-through. More see-through, less see-through. The steering wheel is lovely and simple, and there's a lovely heads-up display as well. And the functions on that change. You can also change the views on the screen in front of the driver. Hey BMW, navigate to McDonald's at Sydney Airport. It's thinking. I can see little bubbles in front of me.
Which one of the destinations shall I select?
That will do. Now I could have just told it which destination, but instead I've selected that one. Now that should come up in due course. And start route guidance. Now I want you to keep an eye on this as we're going along. This camera up here should be able to see. So I've popped it into drive. It's giving me virtual instructions, look. Now, as well as seeing the instructions there in the virtual, I can also see them in front of me on the heads-up display. I think that's amazing, and it only seems to give it the virtual instructions when it thinks you need something.
So it goes to camera when you get near. Is that what it's?
Yes, it does. Oh, that sounds brutal. The first thing you notice is how quiet this is.
Right, depending on the view.
Yep, I've just pulled the little lever back a second time, and that's put me into 1 foot driving. So I'm now just driving with 1 foot, so put my foot down and take my foot off. Put my foot down and take my foot off. Of course, it does put the brake lights on every time you do that, so perhaps the people behind aren't going to be quite so impressed with us. Hey BMW, I'm a bit warm.
All right, it will be cooler shortly.
And what it's done is turn the air conditioning down to 18 degrees. That certainly is cooler. There's no one going to doubt that cooler.
Can you ask it to turn down 1 degree?
Yep, you can. You can ask it to turn down 1 degree, and you can also ask it to turn down a particular zone.
The passenger, driver.
Yep. One of the big things they made about iDrive 8 is that it's easier to use than iDrive 7.
You're not a fan of iDrives, are you?
No. When you're just in normal mode, you can slide these things across and use it just like a mobile. But anyway, we'll go back into navigation.
As I have a habit of talking with my hands, it does have...
I've turned that off, David, because I knew you were coming into the car. And you talk with your hands, and David kept turning things on and off with the gesture control. So I turned that off in anticipation of his arrival.
You mentioned the steering wheel. It's not the standard shape.
So it's a hexagon, but it's not really a hexagon-shaped hexagon, like it's a different shape. I don't know why it's a different shape. And then once you're on the move like we are now, it is beautifully quiet. Now I'll press set, so it's now set it to the speed limit, and I can see that it's guiding me within the lines, keeping me from a set car in front. One thing I haven't found out how to do is change the distance to the car in front. But the steering is completely and utterly neutral. It has no feeling whatsoever. Now they claim that this car has sporty handling, but I'm not sure that it does. Now the thing is, the other day I tried on a closed private road to see what happens if you don't put your hands back on the steering wheel when it tells you to put your hands on the steering wheel. It gives you a subtle warning, with an orange steering wheel, then a really loud warning and buzzer with a red steering wheel symbol all over the place, and then it just says car stopping, and the car began to stop.
Oh.
It does feel more to me like I'm being conveyed, and for 420 kilometres worth of range, that's how I'm feeling. 0 to 100, David, around 6.1.
Is this a dual motor?
Yes, they're all dual motor.
All-wheel drive, obviously.
Yes, and I think that that's the main reason that that's the main reason that it drives so stably, especially at high speed. One thing I can say is I am much happier with the interior of this car than I am with the exterior. But considering what else is on the market, I'm struggling to think of much that is better. Because it's got a longer range than that Audi we took out. It's around the same price. If you just wanted to do your chores, get around from day to day, you could do worse than having one of these. It's absolutely beautiful. So in closing, I think this is an absolutely superb interior and blasts just about every other EV interior out of the water.
Okay.
I think the seats are comfortable. The personal assistant, I think, would take you a while to get used to, but I reckon you could do it with a little bit of practice. It's supposed to be natural speech, but clearly it isn't. The vents, I like the fact that everything is easily accessible. So I'm just going to go back in there into the climate menu, and I'm going to sync and turn yours up to 20. Now you'll notice here in the while we're wrapping up, in the climate menu, this is where you can go and fettle your individual things for your individual side. But I could also get it to do other things as well. I know this is a very long wrap up, but hey BMW, activate driver's seat massage.
Oh.
Seat massage. Please continue using manual control.
I love seat massaging.
Hey BMW, activate maximum driver's seat heating.
I will set level 4 for the driver.
I hate seat heating.
That's all this week, David, from BMW's iX40. I love it. Despite its slightly awkward looks, it's fabulous to drive. Supremely comfortable.
I think it's a lounge chair, a good lounge chair with equipment around it, a bit hard to understand, but it takes you elegantly along. Not sporty, although it accelerates, but certainly more lounge-like.
But as always, it's come time to hit like.
Leave a comment.
And over there to subscribe.